Yes, students, let's continue studying further in the chapter Tribal Communities and Colonialism. Okay, so what we have studied in the first part, okay, we will take a quick revision of that, okay, and then we will start the second aspect. Okay, what is that? How the British rule affected the tribals. Okay, this is the second part that we want to start today, how the British rule affected the tribals. Okay, so students, now, okay, you must have got some idea about the different tribal communities. Okay, and we have studied about the occupations of these tribal communities. Okay, if we recall that the tribal communities from different regions, so you would remember that we studied about certain tribal communities, such as in the north, for example, we studied about the tribal communities in the Punjab hills, the Van Gujars, okay, or the Bakarwals of Kashmir, right? Then the Gaddis of Himachal Pradesh, they practiced what? Pastoralism. Okay, then in central India we have studied about the Baigas, we have studied about the Khonds of Odisha, other tribal communities like the Lambadis of Andhra Pradesh. Okay, so what we have studied about these tribal communities, their occupations. Okay, for example, the Baigas in central India and the Khonds of Odisha. Okay, what do? They went on, or they go on collective hunts. Okay, collective hunting of animals, and fishing. Okay, gathering of edible fruits, edible roots, and we have also studied about the economy of the tribals, right? So I'll take a quick revision of what we have seen. Okay, first, see, I started with the introduction, in which where I told you that how India is a land of grand cultural coexistence. Different people of different cultures, they coexist here, and the different ethnic groups also. How the land, it's a fusion of diverse ethnic groups. Then we have seen that different ethnic groups, they migrated in India in different periods, okay, in different areas across the Indian subcontinent, right? And before these migrations, there were several communities who were living in India, and those communities, they are the Adivasis, okay, or the tribals. And we have seen that these communities, the tribals, they had their own government, the system of administration of justice, the customs, okay, they had their own practices, they had their way of living. And with the advent of the British, the situation, it underwent a dramatic, a dynamic change. Okay, so what we are studying in this lesson is basically three things: the lifestyle of the tribals we are seeing, one; secondly, we are seeing how their life is affected, okay, by the British rule. It was affected by the British rule. And the third is the response of the tribals. Okay, so in the tribal way of life, yesterday already we have studied about this, that the population, I told you, between 6 to 7 crore. The meaning of the word Adivasi, that is the original people or inhabitants of the land, right? And the source of tribal history, like we have studied about different sources like first, those which are transferred from one generation to another, like the folk tales, like the folk tales, okay, or we have studied about the government documents, and the private peasant petitions, okay, the administrative proceedings, okay. So there are some inquiry commissions are set up, so report of the inquiry commissions, okay, their judgments. So these are different sources folklore, I mean, there. So these not folk tales, folk lores, and ballads also. So these are different sources through which we can get an idea about the history of the tribals. Okay, so after that we have seen the tribal society, that how they don't have the rigid social divisions. Okay, and they believe in equality. Okay, different occupations. Here we studied that the main occupation of the tribals. Okay, what was the main occupation? Their main occupation was to collect the forest produce, okay, and hunting of animals. Okay, so that was their main occupation. And there we have seen about the Baigas in central India, and the Khonds of which region? Odisha. What did they do? They went on collective hunting and fishing. Okay, I already told you today only this. And the forest produce, it was also used for medicinal purpose. Okay, so certain forest produce, it was used for medicinal purpose, right? So this we have studied, and then as I told you today only, that the certain communities which were engaged in pastoralism. After that, students, we have studied also about one more occupation, that is shifting cultivation. You remember about jhum cultivation. What is jhum cultivation? What is done is that, so that the sun should reach the land, the ground, the vegetation on the land, it is burnt. Okay, and the tree tops are cut. Then the ash, it is used as fertilizer, and then the seeds are scattered, okay, on the land, which is furrowed with the help of a hoe. Right, and after the gathering of after the harvesting of the crops, what the cultivators do? They leave it fallow. Okay, they leave the land fallow, okay, for several years. Okay, this is what is jhum cultivation. And about which tribes I have told you they practice or they engaged in jhum cultivation? Those who live in the hilly and forested regions of northeast and central India. Okay, so students, we are seeing that how some Adivasis, they are engaged in pastoralism, okay, grazing cattle, for example. Okay, how some are engaged in shifting cultivation. Okay, and the main occupation is forest. Okay, main occupation is collecting the forest produce. Okay, there I have told you, like forest, the edible roots, the edible fruits, hunting animals. Okay, so and about the economy, we studied that of course this is means economy, as I told you, includes like the production of the wealth also, and how they are using it. Now what did they do is that they bartered the valuable forest produce for what? For the essential commodities. Okay, and at times they also purchase goods from the traders. Okay, students, so this is what we have seen, studied about the tribals so far. Now we are going to study how the British rule, it affected the tribals. Okay, so see what happened. Many tribal areas, okay, they came under the influence of the Britishers as they expanded their rule. I repeat, many tribal areas, okay, you know now that how the tribal areas in India, they are not just located at one place, but at different places in India, as I told you, like Andhra Pradesh, Lambadis, for example. Then we have seen in the north also, one Gujars in Punjab hills, or Gaddis in the Himachal Pradesh, okay, or the Bakarwals in Kashmir, and Khonds in Odisha. So different parts. So when the British rule expanded, okay, so many tribal areas came under the influence, and the tribals were affected, significantly affected by the British rule. So this is what we have to understand now, okay, how the tribals were significantly affected by the British rule. Okay, so what happened? These Christian missionaries, okay, like here we are studying how they are affected by the British rule. So the Christian missionaries, the British officials, the planters, the Thikadars, okay, the Zamindars, or the money lenders, they encroached upon the tribal inhabitations. What happened? First, what we are studying about? We are studying that how they were affected. So here we are seeing that their habitation is the place where they live. Okay, so they were encroached upon. Encroached upon is like gradually take away the rights. Okay, so who encroached upon their habitations or upon their rights? Okay, here on the land, see these groups of people like as it is said here, the Christian missionaries. Okay, the British officials, the money lenders, the tikadars, the planters. Who are planters? Planters are like they are the managers or owners of the plantations. You have studied, I think, in the previous chapter about the plantations. Like they are estates where crops like indigo, or cotton or coffee or tea, etc. are grown. So the planters also, and the tikadars, like they are the contractors. Okay, they provide the labor, okay, or equipment for some work, right? So the tikadars, the zamindars. So these different groups of people, what did they do? They encroached upon the tribal habitations, right? And in this, which resulted in a number of problems. So when their land, the habitations were encroached upon by them, what happened? This resulted in a number of problems. Okay, so here, like as means, even though the administering of the tribal areas was tough. Okay, what is administering, students? See, the we are seeing now that the Britishers, they are expanding, okay, their rule over India, parts of India, and even though administering the tribal areas was tough. Okay, what is administering? I think like you must be knowing, but still, see, administer is like to run, okay, or to govern a region. Okay, so like to control the operation of say like running a region, governing a region. Okay, so the Britishers, okay, for them administering the tribal areas, okay, managing, okay, controlling the running of their rule, okay, was tough. Okay, I think you can understand why it was tough. Like yesterday we have seen that where the tribals were living, okay, they were living in inaccessible, okay, and remote highlands, okay, and desolate forests. So do you think it is easy to reach to such places? Okay, so going there, reaching there, okay, and then carrying out the administration there. Okay, so it was tough. Okay, but they did manage, they managed to gain access and control over the resources in these areas. Do you understand this? So it was tough for the Britishers, okay, to reach there. Students, suppose see here, like from Akot there is a place called Chikhaldara, okay, which is not very much far away. Okay, if anybody has been there, you must have seen how one has to travel up, okay, over the mountain, and there are valleys, and can you imagine that now when the roads have been built? Earlier, when the roads were not built the way as they are built now, okay, when the Britishers, they were slowly establishing their rule in India, so reaching to such places, okay, which are over the mountain, okay, which are on highlands, okay, and desolate forest, okay, remote areas, must be difficult for them, okay, to administer, but they managed to gain access, okay, over the as well as control over the resources, okay, in the tribal areas. And the policy of the Britishers was that they wanted that the tribals, they should stay away, they should stay away from the mainstream, okay, so that they will not rebel against them. The Britishers did not want that the tribals should rebel against them. Understood? Okay, so now the next part we are going to study here, like of course part of how the British rule affected the tribals. So here we are going to study the first of all, the loss of power. Okay, here I would tell you about the tribal chiefs. जो मुखिया रहते थे, the tribal chiefs. Okay, regarding them we are going to study about the loss of power. Okay, see, the tribal chiefs, they were quite powerful during the pre-colonial period. Before the colonial rulers, they means established rule, the tribal chiefs were quite powerful. Now we'll understand how they were quite powerful. Okay, see, they had economic power, they enjoyed economic power, and also as well as the authority to frame laws related to land, tribes and forest. Are you understanding? So the tribal chiefs, they can make laws, they can make laws related to land, they can make laws related to the tribes, they can make laws related to forests, and they had economic power. Okay, so like from this we can get an idea that what kind of power they enjoyed. Okay, the tribals, some tribals, okay, from such as the Bhils. Okay, here I am talking about another tribe which is called as Bhils, Bhils. Okay, so the Bhils of southern Gujarat, okay, they were collecting taxes. Some tribals such as the Bhils in Gujarat, they were collecting taxes. Okay, and they allowed, okay, the tribals, they allowed the grazing of cattle by the Banjaras. What did the tribals do? They allowed the grazing of cattle by Banjaras on their land. Okay, so they gave the permission that the Banjaras, their animals, okay, they can graze, okay, they can eat the grass, right? So they allowed that, they gave permission for that. Understood? So here we are seeing the power of the tribal chiefs. Now what happened with the advent of the British? Okay, the tribal chiefs lost much of their administrative powers. What happened? They lost much of their administrative powers. Now they had to give tribute to the colonial rulers. Okay, one. Secondly, they also the British laws were imposed upon them, and they lost their traditional forest rights. Okay, so here we are seeing how what kind of loss was suffered by the tribal chiefs. Are you understanding, students? So here we are studying the effect of the British rule on the tribals, and here we have seen that how the what happened to the tribal chiefs. Okay, what kind of power they enjoyed earlier when the Britishers had not established their rule. Okay, like economic power they had, or legislative power they had, like they can make laws, right? Some tribals like Bhils, they collected taxes and they gave permission, they allowed, like the tribals, as I have said here, that they allowed the grazing of cattle. So they enjoyed powers, but what happened after the advent, with the advent of the British rule, what happened? Much of their administrative powers, they were lost. Okay, and now the taxes they had to pay tribute, and the rules of the Britishers, okay, the rules were imposed upon them, and they lost their traditional forest rights. Okay, understood this first? Okay, this is about the loss of powers. Now next I am going to tell you about how the tribals, they were dispossessed of their land. I am going to tell you about the tribals, they were dispossessed of their land. Now what happened? The company, which company you know now? The East India Company. Okay, so it forcefully took away large tracts of land. The East India Company, it took away large tracts of tribal land, and ultimately what happened? The landless tribals, okay, they became wage laborers. Okay, now the landless tribals, earlier those who had the traditional rights of the land, now they became the wage laborers. Okay, and were coerced. Coerced is like persuade someone to do something like for which they are not ready, using force or threats, that is coerced, coercing. So the tribals, they were coerced to cultivate cash crops. What are cash crops? These are the crops which are cultivated not from the point of view of for the purpose of personal use, okay, or for the purpose of use, but for their commercial value, okay, for selling them, right? So they are called as the cash crops, right? For example, cotton. So I'm just telling you example of cash crop here. Cotton doesn't mean that the Adivasis, they were forced to grow the cotton crops. So there are other cash crops also, indigo, for example. So this is like commercialization of agriculture. So what happened? They were coerced. To cultivate the cash crops, right? Now because of the low wages and the loss of the traditional land rights made the tribals unhappy. Okay, so here we are seeing that what happened to the tribals, okay, those who owned the land, okay, according to their traditional rights, now they lost the land, okay. As I have told you that the Britishers, the East India Company, what did they do? They forcefully they take over the tribal lands, and the tribals, they became wage laborers, okay, and they were coerced, or we can say they were forced, okay, threatened to cultivate the cash crops. And because of the low wages, okay, or because of the loss of the traditional land rights, the tribals became unhappy. Are you understanding, students? So here I am telling you like what was the effect of the British rule. First I have told you about the tribal chiefs, what was the effect on them, what they suffered, how they suffered, and now we are studying about the other tribals, right? Like they were dispossessed of their land. Dispossessed means they were deprived of land. Okay. Now from shifting cultivation to settled agriculture. Okay. Yesterday in the first part, we have studied about shifting cultivation, which is also called as jhum cultivation. And you also know, students, I suppose that which tribals, okay, they were engaged in jhum cultivation. Do you remember? The tribals in the northeast and the central India, okay, the tribals living in hilly and forested areas of northeast and central India, okay. So now what happened? To those, okay, those who were practicing jhum cultivation or shifting cultivation. See, the Britishers, they wanted that the nomadic groups, okay, they should settle down. The Britishers wanted that the nomadic groups, they should settle down, okay. And they should settle down. Why they should settle down? Because it would be then easier for the Britishers to monitor and administer them. Can you imagine of a situation that the tribals, they are as described, the nomadic groups, okay, they are practicing shifting cultivation, and is it easy for the British officials to reach to them, okay, as the forest can be desolate, okay, and remote areas, right, and inaccessible lands, okay, and then they are monitoring them, okay, they are administering them. So it is not easy. So the Britishers wanted that instead of that they should settle down, okay, and so they introduced what? Land settlement. What did the Britishers do? They introduced land settlement, and according to this, what was done was, according to this, that is land settlement, the Britishers, they measured the land. What did they do? They measured the land and fixed the revenue payable to the state. This is what was done as part of land settlement. The Britishers, they measured the land, okay, and they fixed the revenue payable to the state, okay. Now those who are going to do cultivate the land, they will have to pay revenue, okay. They will pay revenue to whom? To the state. How much revenue they will pay? It depends upon the area of the land, okay. So in this way the area was measured, okay, and the revenue was fixed, Do you understand? Yes. So now the Britishers declared some tribals as the land owners. What did they do? They declared some tribals as the land owners and the other tribals as the tenants. Okay, so see students, here there are two groups. One are the land owners and the second are the tenants. Okay, so the tenants, they would give rent. What they would give? They would give rent to whom? To the landowner. Okay, suppose I am a tenant, okay, and you are owner of the land. Okay, we both are tribals. Okay, but what I am doing? I am a tenant, so I am giving you rent. Okay, and what will you do? You will collect the rent of all such tenants. Okay, and then you will give revenue to the state. Are you understanding? So in this way the revenue was collected under land settlement. You understand, students? Yes, but there is one thing here, that the this shifting cultivation was difficult to practice where the water was scarce, okay, and the soil was dry. You understand? Nevertheless, the due to the widespread protest by the tribals, okay, by many tribes, okay, tribals such as of the northeast, what happened? The Britishers, they were compelled to allow the tribals to practice shifting cultivation. You understand this? That there was widespread protest by many tribals such as of northeast, and the Britishers were forced, they were compelled to allow the tribals to practice shifting cultivation. Okay, so here, okay, I am going to end today's session. Okay, so